You're listening to AltElxn 2025, a national election broadcast series produced by stations across the country exploring underrepresented voices, emerging issues, and alternative perspectives in the lead up to Canada's federal election on April 28th. The initiative is supported by the Covering Canada Elections 2025 Fund in partnership with the Public Policy Forum, Rideau Hall Foundation, and the Michener Awards Foundation. Learn more at AltElxn.ca. And now, today's episode.
The following is a series of 5 interviews we at CJAS Radio St. Augustine conducted with local candidates for our riding of Côte-Nord-Kawachikamach-Nitassinan. First, with Sébastien Beaulieu of the Rhinoceros Party, then Kevin Coutu of the Liberal Party, unaffiliated candidate Gilles Babin, Conservative candidate Mélanie Dorion, and the Bloc Québécois candidate and incumbent MP Marilyn Gill. NDP candidate Malika Lalim could not be reached in time for publication. This interview with Rhinoceros candidate Sébastien Beaulieu was recorded this past Tuesday, April 22nd. I'm speaking right now to Sébastien Beaulieu, the local candidate for the Rhinoceros Party in our region. Just introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, I'm living in North Shore, Seven Island from 2018. I'm new in the North Shore. I work in culture. I am a DJ and I work in different companies here in Seven Islands. I'm going in politics because I want to represent the federal election because I believe it's time to bring real decision-making power back to the people of the lower North Shore and all the North Shore. I'm deeply involved in our region as an artist, community organizer, and passionate advocate for food sovereignty and local development. I stand for decentralizing power, giving more resources and responsibility to municipalities, amplifying the voice of the citizen through public assemblies and direct democracy.
Now, I mentioned it before, you're representing the Rhinoceros Party in the region. For any of our audience who might not be aware, how would you describe the Rhinoceros Party?
Yes, it's a satiric party, so we are here to talk about government.
Now, you mentioned a satiric party. I've looked a bit into your platform through your Facebook page, because you have a real mix of serious and let's call them more comedic campaign promises. How do you feel that the kind of satiric and comedic elements of your platform and campaigning, how does that help advance the more serious promises that you would like to see accomplished?
In fact, I got a serious platform because everybody was asking me, if you're elected, what are you going to do? So I was very deep in my satiric proposition, and I had nothing real serious, but I have real political conviction, and I'm in politics because of these convictions. I have the faith that I can do something better with this government. But the satiric platform is really to make people talk about politics because we are all radicalized in our ideas. It's rough to have a political discussion with some people these days. With the humor, with the satiric version of my platform, I think it's more easy to have a conversation and to lead some subjects that we are not able to take in conversation.
Something I've seen in previous statements you've made is that you didn't find a voice that represented you in the last election.
Exactly.
So what is it about the major parties that you feel is inadequate?
You know, like a Liberal Party, they've been on ecologic and reconciliation through the last years, but they also built a pipeline to cross wetland territories. They send RCMP with military guns to take the land. And I don't think that's ecologic, and I don't think that's a good way to make a reconciliation. Poilievre with the Conservative Party is in power. He's been in power 21 years in Carleton. He's not an element of change. He's been part of the Harper government. So they sell themselves as a way of change, but they are not. Canada has only 2 parties in place to lead the country, and it's Conservative and Liberal, so that's not a change. With the Bloc Québécois, you know, they've been separatists before, but with the last government, they follow the Liberals, and they made it for stability in politics in Canada, but if they are really separatists, they wouldn't be doing this.
A couple of things that I've seen you talk about, and you've mentioned a couple here. You would like the devolution of some powers to municipalities. Yeah. What things that are not currently would you like to see municipalities be placed in charge of?
I think the people should have power in their hands and not political parties. So I think we can do some changes to put the power in the hands of the people. We can decentralize the power by granting more authority to the municipal level, which is the closest of government to the citizen, and stop depending on the federal government for development. We should increase the public consultation and town hall assemblies to take citizens' opinion in the content for local governance. We should promote citizen initiatives too. I think we can do referendum to overturn or repeal laws that are unpopular or socially unacceptable. And we should be able also to give us some democracy mechanism that allow for laws to be voted by referendum or assemblies, like in Switzerland.
If you were to give a quick summary, you were speaking to somebody who didn't know who you were, what would you tell them? Why should they vote for you and for the Rhinoceros Party in this election?
Because it's a counter-power option. If you don't like the system, if you don't like how it's run, if you don't like political parties being two hands on the wheel, you should vote for me, because it sends a message to Ottawa that we are not regarding to this kind of power. We want power for people. We want democracy, not politics. It's like an industry now, the politics. It's not a democracy. It's really an industry. The big parties are in place, and they collect dollars with the votes. But that shouldn't be this. That should be people representing people, not parties giving a line to the people.
If, per se, you are not elected as the MP, what might you hope that your candidacy accomplishes? What initiatives do you hope that you have brought to the forefront? And what would get accomplished in the next 4 years in our region that would make you consider your candidacy a success?
Speaking about food sovereignty is one of my main subjects in campaign, and I think we should speak more about sovereignty when we speak about food. It's maybe not the case for Lower North Shore, but here we export like 85% of our sea resources. We have in the market tilapia and shrimp from Thailand, but we don't have ours when we're off season. So I think we should work on our food sovereignty. We should give us the power to create some initiatives to have better food in our tables, on our tables.
Well, I'm sure there are definitely some fishermen in the region who can connect with that. I want to thank you very much for your time, and just for my own curiosity, you mentioned by the email correspondence, you were just attending a debate organized by the Chamber of Commerce. How did that go?
Yeah, it's been great. We got some team debate. We had some battles with the other ones, but it was nice. But it was comprehensive, and we take the time to explain each other's and go deep in the subject. But today the Conservative wasn't there, and the NPD wasn't there too. There was missing these two big pieces. We did a good show, I think.
Well, once again, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, and sorry for my English. I'm really basic.
Well, good luck with the rest of the campaign this week, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Have a nice week.
Bye.
Bye.
This interview with the Liberal candidate, Kevin Coutu, was recorded on Monday, April the 14th. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am sitting here with Mr. Kevin Coutu. He is the Liberal candidate for our riding in the upcoming federal elections. So, welcome, Mr. Coutu. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much for the invitation. I moved to Sept-Îles about 6 years. I decided to move on the North Shore because I wanted to do my internship here. So I started in Baie-Comeau and afterwards in Sept-Îles, and I found a job in private practice in Sept-Îles, and I also found my wife here.
Okay. You're a former lawyer by trade. What brought you into running in this race?
The climate right now, what's happening with the Conservatives, what's happening with Trump. I mean, things need to change. We're really at a scary moment. And also, I'm really involved in the community here. And with how things are managed right now, I don't see changes. And we're losing people till they left and they leave the North Shore. They go in big cities, and that needs to change. I want to bring more jobs here. I really think we got a great place to live. I want more people like me who came from Montreal and then decided to move on the North Shore.
Fantastic. So the Liberals have not held this seat since the 1980s. Is there anything that makes you in particular optimistic about your chances of becoming the MP for the region?
I think that people are seeing that in the last few years, nothing has been done for our district. And also, like I said, the climate has changed. People expect more, and they want more. So I really think this is why I got good chances. And also, I'm really somebody like dynamic, and I work with a lot of people. So even if I'm not born on Seven Islands, the last few years I was able to be heard into the community.
Now, if you had to give a quick elevator pitch, what do you think are the primary issues that you would be looking to solve or confront as MP for this region?
We need investment and with investment, you create more jobs. You create a better economy. You create people that are going to build houses. You're going to get more resources. So we need investment. And also we need as I said earlier, a lot of people are leaving the North Shore, and we need, because it's difficult to travel from here, so we need a better route. We need better infrastructures. So, and all that starts with investment.
So you say investment. Can you give any specific examples of industries and routes for transportation that you would like to specifically see investments in?
The road. So we're stuck in Tadoussac, and also at the end of the 138 in Kaskaskia. With climate change, the La Route Blanche, the white road, things won't last like they used to. So we need a road, not a better one, just one at least. We need, but it needs to be good though. But so that's something really major. That's something that the federal government can inject money into it. And also right here, like in Seven Islands, to be more precise, there's a company who wants to invest here in Aciérie Verte, and that could create more jobs. And if we create more jobs, we get people living here. And also for the lower North Shore, there's also the fisheries. That's a strong economy that needs to be protected. And right now, I don't think the fishermen are happy with what's happening. So we need to make sure that trade is protected.
Fantastic. Now, you've been touring on the campaign trail. What's the number one thing you're hearing from constituents? What have they been saying to you?
Right now, the major thing we hear is what's happening with Donald Trump, with the tariffs, because this impacts our community. We export aluminum, and we export also what our fishermen are getting. So this is really something that is on people's mind, and they want to make sure that for the future we got a strong leader who's able to be respected by Donald Trump.
Where are you campaigning next? Are you going to be making a stop on the Lower North Shore during your campaign?
I don't want to make false promises. I'll try, but it's really a short campaign. I just completed the first week. Right now I'm in Baie-Comeau, so I'll be doing this for the following days. And there's also the issue with it's a long weekend this weekend, so it's difficult to be able to travel as we wanted. And also there's also a financial impact on campaigning. We get money to the campaign from people, and right now with the cost of life, it's difficult to gather money to be able to campaign the entire district. So I'll really do my best I already contacted some of your colleagues to be able to get our message from the Liberal Party on the Lower North Shore, but we'll really try.
And if anybody listening here today wanted to get in contact with you and ask some questions, how could they do so?
I've got a Facebook page. That's a good thing with the technology today, so we can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I reply to everybody, so if anyone has a question, they can write me up. And they know what we do during this campaign with the district. My wife is like the manager of this campaign, and she follows me everywhere also. So it's really funny to see people are able to look on what we're doing, and we're really proactive in the district.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Couture. I'll let you get back on the trail and do some more interviews. And thank you very much again for your time. If there's any last words you'd like to say?
It's really important to vote. So people, it's on the 28th. You need to go vote. It's a democratic opportunity. So, and also if you have any questions, look me up on Facebook and I'll write you down. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much and have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
This interview with unaffiliated candidate Gilles Babin was recorded on Wednesday, April the 23rd. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am speaking now with Gilles Babin, an independent candidate running for the federal election in our riding. Mr. Babin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, and I'm sorry that I have to correct your statement because I am not an independent candidate. Elections Canada has me from my instructions. I have no affiliation, which means that I have free speech and that I work for everyone. Because an independent is someone that you may think he's independent, he'll do his thing on his own, and that's not the way I work. I have no affiliation. In French, it's sans appartenance politique. So under my name on the ballot, there won't be anything but 3 hash marks, That's something that's different right now that I'm offering, yeah.
So as an unaffiliated candidate then, I wanted to ask you, with no party backing your campaign, what do you find has been the greatest challenges in that regard in campaigning in the region?
The region itself, this is bigger than a country, eh? This is bigger than most countries, the distance. Other than that, it's just getting my message out to be heard and understood, but to the vast majority. And that, I think, is the biggest challenge. Having these radio interviews helps me. The media is helpful. Actually, I'm quite fortunate, although I may seem as just a single person, and it's not the case. There's a team behind me. There's a team with me. And I've been invited, for example, at local debates to local radio stations here in Baie-Comeau, because I'm from Baie-Comeau, and where they invited the major parties to be present. And there was the Bloc Québécois, there was the Conservative, there was the Liberals, and there was me, Gilles Babin, without any political affiliation.
So you mentioned getting your message out there. So what is your message? What drove you and inspired you to mount this campaign?
I'm committed. I'm engaged in our development, and I have been so. This is my 4th campaign. I was, in 2022, I was indeed an independent candidate at the provincial level. Then the winner was the ex-mayor of Baie-Comeau. There was a local election to replace him. I ran in that election, and I came in 3rd out of 4. I ran again at a local level, at the district level. At that point, I reached over 20% as a result, which has been very encouraging. And so I'm committed to our development, and I am so saddened by how the region has developed or not developed and regressed. I'm born and raised from Baie-Comeau. I went away for studies. As you know, there's no university here. There's university services now, but when I grew up, I'm a 1960 model. I had to go away. I studied at Bishop's, went off to Champlain College. I'm sure some of your listeners, may have gone the same path. And then I came back to Baie-Comeau in 85. So Baie-Comeau is a place that I have at heart, and I saw, and it was a good place to grow up. I saw the division been brought upon us inflicted upon the provincial government. And that was so sad. And then when the Prime Minister from Bécomo, for Canada was elected, we were stuck in polarization and this infighting between reds and blues and reds and liberals and conservatives, or Quebec and Canada, and all of this stuff. And this has been like something that it was some sort of inheritance, and I'd say something that was an irritant as a youth. But I'm a thoughtful person which seeks to make unity. And so I'm a bridge builder, and I think it's time for us. And I spent 30 years in Montreal, by the way. Came back in 2021. I was transferred into Montreal, and I lived my life and family life. I'm a father of 5 in Montreal, but came back in 2021 in the times of COVID. My father had passed away in 2020, and I suffered like most people did. Couldn't have a reception for my father's death. Imagine that. And having to go through roadblocks to travel from Montreal to Bécomo, and all this craziness as far as I'm concerned, and the experience that I lived, I just couldn't stay silent anymore. And I had to get involved. And I've been a person who's been involved like that throughout his life. I was involved, in student government in high school, and student government at university. And I've always been involved. And I see that now it's time for us, if things are going to develop, if we're going to progress, we have to take matters into our own hands. I'm passionate about our region. It's my place of birth. I love the whole territory, the Côte-Nord, Kawashikamak, Nitassinan, and I'm an Innu. I'm an Innu myself, but I guess a white Innu. I spell it differently, with the Y, E, and the bridge, the N-O-U-S. So I'm here to do bridge building. I'm communicating to people, and I'm communaction. I'm community building. That's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm offering the people of the territory.
Elevator pitch. Why should people cast their vote with Gilles Babin?
If you want things to change, we have to make a different action. And the only action that is different on this ballot is what I offer. Because what do we have? We have Bloc Québécois. And what has that given us? Like, who relates to the Bloc Québécois anyways, and this blockage? Are we going to go forward? Are we going to build anything with that? What about the Liberals? What do they have to offer? And what has the Liberal government done for us other than bring us in the red? And what about the Conservatives? The Conservatives who never recognized the 2007 Declaration of Déclaration des droits des Nations Unies des peuples autochtones, the declaration, the 2007 Declaration of the United Nations for the Native people. They refuse to recognize that. So what are Conservatives going to do for us? And there's issues about development, there's negotiations. So I am bringing a person, a choice that is different, that's going to work for us. What is good for us? And I feel that what's good for us is to be in charge, to take a handle on the decision-making, and to rise as a nation of the territory, to rise together. So this is what I'm offering. I'm offering a different path, a different leadership, a different voice, a voice of unity. This is who I am.
Let's say you win the seat, or maybe you don't, but you garner enough votes that maybe it has some influence on policy. What is the number one major thing that you would like to see accomplished for this region in the next 4 years?
I'd like us to become a political entity ourselves, okay, the territory, that we rise and play this game that is in the rule of law, because we are being pushed around and messed around, and nothing is serving us right now. The native, and I'm a native of the territory, by the way, because I was born here. I'm maybe a newborn with regards to the natives, but I want us to be, and I'll be bold, to be a state that is recognized and that can speak from state to state. Because as it is now, the conversation that is happening, the reason why the Inuits aren't being heard is that there is no voice. They're talking as people, and they're talking to states, and it doesn't work. We have to talk at the same level, and this is what I want to accomplish. And I want to create a fund that's going to bring investment here throughout the territory. This movement that I am in is there to stay and will continue, but I really hope that the message goes through and that I can act as a member of parliament who has a voice for the whole territory. I think that's what's important in this election. And be sure that there will be no more passionate voice from what's being offered than Gilles Babin.
So, as we approach the closing days of the campaign, I'm going to give you a chance for any last message to our listeners. And in these closing days, if they want to learn more about Gilles Babin, where can they reach out to you?
They can reach out. I'm on Facebook. For people who have Facebook, I'm there, Gilles Babin. You'll see my face. I can be reached. My email address is Gilles Babin with a 4, Gilles Babin 4 at gmail.com. And then if people want to speak directly, well, I'll be able to give my telephone number, but I just don't want to give it out at large like that. But I'm reachable. I will talk with everybody and anybody. The last thing, tomorrow, I am preparing an address. What we are doing is nation building. So I'll be making an address, just as humbly as it is, just addressing, because people in a territory are indeed a nation. So we are the nation of the territory, and making sure that the message is heard not only here in the territory, but in Quebec, in Ottawa, and if in Washington need be. Because I think we have to stand up ourselves and be heard and not let others, take our voice. There'll be a link on my Facebook page. So I'll be doing one in French and one in English, by the way.
As mentioned earlier, this interview was recorded this past Wednesday afternoon. So if you want to hear Mr. Babin's address, it is available now at his Facebook page, Gilles Babin. So I want to thank you again very much, Mr. Babin, for your time today.
Well, I thank you very much, and I do hope that your audience be bold, audacious. Audacious is the word that I'm using in French. Be audacious. Join the people who are coming together here in the territory and are taking hold of our future, because what we've seen really hasn't served us. And actually, it feels as if we've been serving others to the detriment of our future and the future of our children and generations to come. So let's do it together.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Babin. Have a great rest of the campaign, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and a good day to all of you. All the best.
This interview with Conservative candidate Melody Dorion was recorded Wednesday, April 23rd, after she arrived at the Blanc-Sablon airport. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am sitting today with Ms. Melanie Dorion, the Conservative Party candidate for our region in this upcoming federal election. Hello, Ms. Dorion. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, certainly. So I am the candidate for the Conservative Party in the region of Côte-Nord, Kawawash-Kamak-Nitassinan. My values, I share the same values in the party. So that's why I choose to represent the Conservative Party of Canada, because my path is a business owner path, an entrepreneur path, and the Conservative Party help develop and help the small businesses and the workers. So I feel very comfortable with the great value of the party. And it's also sustain the autonomy and the development of persons, but also the province and the territory.
You've had a taste throughout the day of the common transportation challenges that face the Lower North Shore. Would you, as the MP, have any plans for addressing the difficulties of transportation throughout the region?
Yes, I just got back from a flight from Sept-Îles. I understand that it's very, very important to have a better access. We have a great service and great people who work in this service, but we need to give more schedule time, more services, because I seem like I tried to be in Blanc-Sablon before, but there is not much opportunities, so it's very difficult. But I very appreciate that it's a lower cost now, because the cost is also an important factor, the cost of the services. So we want to keep that way.
So for your campaign, what do you think are the key local issues for this election?
The local issues for the region, for the Basse-Côte-Nord, I think on the fisheries, the fishing industry, we can help. We can help the small harbors, communities. We have plan of investment, and we want to develop our natural resource so that will bring money in our region and help develop, like I said before, transportation, resort, and infrastructure. It's the same all the way of our big ridings.
No Conservative has won this seat since former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney had it. What gives you optimism going into this race?
Oh, you mean that Brian Mulroney helped a lot developing our great region? Yes, for sure. But you know, Pierre Poilievre is also very sensible of giving power to the region. So it's giving, like I said before, a lot of autonomy. It's the way that we want to do it. And by giving more economic power to the citizen, by cut down on some tax, it's an example of the power that we can give, not only for the people, but also for the business to develop. So I think that's the way we want to do it. And it's a bit like Brian Mulroney.
Now, if you were to introduce yourself, who is Melody Dorion?
Yes, but like I said before, I've been a business owner for about 20 years, small business owner, and then I was in the catering business, the restoration and tourism, okay? And then I have to move to another kind of implication. I also been a town councillor, so I gained a lot of experience. And as my path in restoration business owner was, I want to serve, I want to help them. Now I want to do that in a political way, implication, because I also live difficulties in my path of entrepreneur. I want to help. And to do that, I go back in classes, I take political and economic degrees at the university. It's kind of a new orientation that I took a couple of years ago, about 10 years ago. It's been a couple of years that I planned to share the values of the Conservative Party, because all of my willing to do good and develop our region connect with those values.
People always talk about developing the region. It's, of course, the number one priority. If you had to give your elevator pitch, why should people vote for you to make that change, specifically?
You have to understand that you vote for me, yes, but you vote also for the party. And for me, it's very important to show the people that our party is the right thing to do now, because it's an action party. We need to take action. All our region faced degrowth since 13 years. You talk about Brian Mulroney, and that was a great time because we have a lot of development, but our regions suffer for a lack of investment the last decade. So now it's time to do something about that. It's all around the same thing. We have a degrowth of population, service, so we have to do something right now. And Conservative Party is the party to take action.
As we're in the closing days of the campaign, if people had any more questions for you, how could they reach out to you?
Yes, on my platform, melaniedorion.ca, you will find more about my bio and everything to get in touch with me, to reach me if you want an interview, you have questions. It will be a pleasure for me to answer your question. And you will also find the information more precise on, like I said before, on the cut that we plan to do on taxes on development and construction to bring more affordable home for people. So you can reach me that way.
Now, if you had any last words you'd like to leave with our audience today, what would they be?
It's time to make a change. It's time to make our country first. It's time to bring home investment. It's time to take action to stop the degrowth in our region and develop our natural resource and stand by our workers and entrepreneurs. So that would be my message. It's time for a change. It's time to vote Conservative.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Dorion. Good luck with the rest of the campaign. And I also wish you a wonderful afternoon.
Yes, thank you very much. And it's been a very pleasant flight. It's very beautiful. I'm very happy to be there. Everyone is so kind. And it's sunny, by the way, here in Blanc-Sablon, so everything is fine. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
See ya. Bye-bye.
This interview with Marilyn Gill of the Bloc Québécois was conducted earlier this morning on Friday, April the 25th. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am sitting now with Ms. Marilyn Gill, the incumbent MP for our region, and running again in this race on behalf of the Bloc Québécois to be our MP once again. Hello, Ms. Gill. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Yes, like you said, I was MP for Manicouagan, now running for the Côte-Nord or North Shore, Kawash-Kamak-Nitassinan riding. Still having a lot of energy and being able to help our region. I shall say, especially the lower North Shore, in achieving some goals and in facing some challenges that we do have here. So next Monday is the voting time, but I still want to engage myself with our community to be able to have a better place for ourselves, of course, but for our children as well, as a mom of three.
So, Ms. Gill, what do you view as the key issues in this region and in this race?
What I can also speak about what I saw before, but what I also I had some meetings with all the municipalities of the lower North Shore, but I do really believe, as I was MP for Manicouagan, that the most of the challenges that we have to face are in the lower North Shore. Of course, we speak about transportation. This is one issue. I think about the airport, for example, in Blanc-Sablon or in Chevry. We think, of course, about the cost of living. A lot of people talk to me about that, and it was already very expensive before what we call the Trump or the USA crisis. Of course, health issues. I'll come back to this also, but it was really important for the coasters when I spoke with everybody. Fish industry also, unemployment insurance. I could add a lot also, not because I want people to be discouraged. People are really strong on the lower North Shore. They're very resilient, but there are also many issues that concern Quebec's level. I must say that because when we meet people, we don't want to tell them, oh, this concerns, for example, Quebec, and this is for the federal level because it affects their whole entire life. So we want to hear about it. I think we spoke about almost everything. So that's what I'm hearing. But what I'm hearing also, because one could say that other municipalities or other MRC would say the same thing, but it's not the same thing on the lower North Shore because it's kind of a forbidden places, I do believe, because there is no road yet. So what is a more important, let's say, example of forgetting people when you don't give them just roads to be able to go outside and to feel maybe more secure, etc. This is what I heard, and I know that people have a lot of expectations. I do understand in governments, and I was an MP, so I know also what I'm talking about from another perspective. It's very hard to bring these issues because it's not Toronto or Quebec or Montreal or Vancouver. So we really have to work all together and to bring these issues to the site of governments, of elected people, and work all together as a region also, the North Shore, in order to be able to help the lower North Shore, because sometimes I feel it's a country in itself, but we can't forget the lower North Shore, and I really feel that it's it's the MRC where there are the most issues. I just want to, like I say, engage me again with the population in order to help them, even though there are a lot of things that we need, and it's not as fast as we would want it to. I want to be an ally for them.
You've mentioned the difficulties of making changes in governments, but despite all that, since you've been MP since 2015, I wanted to ask you, what accomplishments and progress are you proudest of in your capacity as our MP in the past 10 years?
One of the the projects that I was proud in working with. The cellular towers, for example, was one of the projects that I worked with on the Lower North Shore. I mean, in Mangani as well. Right now, I had one priority. I didn't speak about that. I read, I think yesterday or the day before, that the Lower North Shore want to have a status for unemployment insurance, which is unique for the region. And I'm working on a reform of employment insurance law, which I will table. Well, I tabled it in November, but the House did shut at the time. But this time I will table it as well, like I did for the pension funds also during 3 mandates, because everybody voted against it at first, and then I could pass the bill. I was really proud about that because it came from the people. But that was something that I was proud from a federal level.
Something that's come up, I've interviewed now the 4 of the other candidates in this region, and all of them, and also the federal leaders on the campaign trail, have all been talking about the need for change. And I think you yourself would also agree that this region needs to see changes. It needs to see progress. Why, as the incumbent, why do you feel that you are best placed to bring forward the changes that this region and this country needs?
Well, I could give you one good reason or an example. Like I said, I want to work on unemployment insurance. Of course, it's an issue that was there before I became MP. Nothing moved. I know that we need change, but change doesn't mean we need a change in the person that is the representative or the MP, an MP or a prime minister, for example. Like I said, we're talking about changes because it's a word usually that we like, because when something doesn't go right, we feel like, okay, if we change something, of course, we don't do again and again the same thing. Maybe it's going to change. And I heard, for example, my colleague, Mr. Coutu, which I do respect, of course, telling that, okay, if there was a change, the employment insurance law would be reformed. But they were at the government level for 10 years. So is that a change? And is that a change for unemployment insurance? Because Ms. Leboutillier, for example, which is minister in the Gaspésie, in the Madeleine-Magdalena Island area, was at the table of minister, and she had, like we say sometimes, because we're hearing about change, but we're hearing also about the power. But she had the power, and nothing did change in these years. Of course, one could say, yeah, but it didn't change with you as an MP either, Marilyn, and you didn't have the power. But I did table the law, and I was willing to work for my people, to fight for my people in order to have this bill passed. So I think the change that people do need is, of course, action. And I cannot make any changes if, or we can, or one cannot make any change if the person who is talking for them doesn't want any change. Like Ms. Leboutillier, for example, or Monsieur Coutu want to be there, but their party doesn't want any change. So how something is going to change for the insurance employment, for example, when the ministers cannot do anything, and when the change comes from what the people want. If this can be brought to the government one day or another, we're going to be able to work on it and to have, I could say, some victories as well, because I did it for 7 years for my bill, and it did work at the end, but it took 7 years. So changes are, of course, few. We would want more. For myself, I want to settle everything in, let's say, 3 months, but it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. But we need people that will speak for us, because we want change. We don't want the people. The people doesn't mean anything if they don't carry what we really do want. So maybe that's what I would say, really humbly. But
so quickly now, we're in the closing days of this campaign, just now Friday and the rest of the weekend till Monday. Mm-hmm. Where are you going to be spending your time in these last few critical days?
I will drive to Cédille, and then I go to Fermont. It's the only place where I didn't have conversations with people yet, the northern part of the riding, and then I come back to Cédille, Bécomo, and go back there to the main cities, as you know, the Cédille for the last day. So I spoke with people all around the riding, and I don't know if it's the last, because in the last years, what I tried really sincerely to do was to have some ties to gain the trust of the coasters, because I wanted to go au-delà, let's say beyond all the maybe stereotypes there are about what the Bloc Québécois is and how we could work together. For example, as I'm a French speaking, as you can hear with my accent, though I have Gail as a name, which is truly British. But that we can work all together, even if I'm far. I always, and you could see that or hear it in almost every of my speeches at the House of Commons. I know it's symbolic, the speeches, but the symbolic makes places, the countries like the Lower North Shore exist, and I would like to these I said size, but these liens, relationship may be even stronger in gaining again the confidence of the population, because it's no matter of language, like with my colleagues, friends, and ally, the Innu Nation or Naskapi. As an elected, I want to work for everybody.
What would be your closing message for the people of this region?
The first words that come for 3 seconds are, let's work together. I'm going to be there for you.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time, Miss Gill, and good luck on the rest of the campaign.
Thank you, and let's hope to meeting you in St. Augustine. Even though I'm not an MP, I will go back to the Lower North Shore, so I hope we'll meet each other. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you, and have a great rest of your day. I'd also like to thank again all the candidates who took the time to speak with us over the past couple of weeks.
This episode is part of the AltElxn 2025, a national collaboration bringing diverse voices and critical conversations to the airwaves ahead of Canada's federal election. Don't forget to tune in to our live National Election Night broadcast on Monday, April 28th, and visit AltElxn.ca for interviews, resources, and local station listings. A big thanks to our sponsors at the Covering Canada Election 2025 Fund, made possible through the Public Policy Forum, the Rideau Hall Foundation, and the Michener Awards Foundation. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on election night.